Rajat Sethi, do you buy this argument that, Sheesh Mahal was stretched? It saw a late pivot on the issue of, roads, sewage, water, pollution, but that came much later. What do you make of the fact that corruption, which the BJP pitched as its #1 charge against the Aam Aadmi Party, comes in at just 5% of the respondents thinking that's their #1 issue?
Well, absolutely right. I think, Rahul, what happened around the turn of the new year, around that time, BJP was still sort of clueless as to what its core message of that election is going to be. At that time, the local leaders kept insisting that Sheesh Mahal was going to be an important issue, but the writings and the data was pretty clear. It was very evident that this is not sticking. It has already impacted Kejriwal's overall persona and the credibility that he brought to the table, and it was settled. I mean, howsoever number of percentage of people who like him continue to like, and who do not like him as a leader, that number had also largely settled by then, by December 2024. Thereafter, BJP was desperate to actually change its flank. It was largely done by the central leadership, who were able to bring back the narrative right from Yogi Ji's and Himanta Biswa Sharma's rallies and Prime Minister now going back on the governance issues. Because remember, whenever it came to governance, the Aam Aadmi Party was on a slippery slope. Look at their body language. They started getting way more defensive. When Aam Aadmi Party and BJP entered into the election fray, the excitement around Aam Aadmi Party was way more. But over a period of time, when the governance issues started taking primacy, BJP started getting its narrative much more sorted, much more in order. They knew when to attack because they were able to corner the Aam Aadmi Party. And on top of that, the budget sort of middle-class bazooka that BJP came up with, they now have a positive agenda also. So narrative-wise, BJP seems much more comfortable. Arvind Kejriwal and his party thought that leadership vacuum on the BJP would be their single top agenda. They tried to corner the BJP, but that too also did not stick. So both the parties, Aam Aadmi Party's leadership issue and BJP's Sheesh Mahal issue, both of them lost traction.
No, but if this was a T20 match, it seems that the BJP is coming to the party late. You've got a big asking rate to chase down Amitabh Tiwari. And therefore, even if in the end, power play, you start connecting a few shots and you hit them across the field, can you catch up? It's really the BJP trying to catch up. The AAP is slipping towards the end. The BJP has a lot of catching up to do. Can it? That's the critical question. That's what we'll know on the 5th and the 8th.
No, essentially, if you see, most of the issues which have been highlighted are bread and butter issues. Corruption, inflation, development, unemployment, etc. We find this in each and every state where we go and survey. However, here one important aspect is the civic issues. Largely we get rural distress, agri-distress, but since it's an urban area, we're getting civic issues. Now, this is fairly important because MCD is under the control of the Aam Aadmi Party. Whichever party has won the MCD elections in the past 17-18 years has lost the Vidhan Sabha elections subsequently. Because there is some overlap or there is a lot of confusion between what is the responsibility of the central government, state government and the MCD, there seems to be this overlap. That's number one. Number two, however, we discuss a lot about issues, but issues is not the only main voting consideration of people. It would be leadership, it would be the track record of performance of the government, the track record of the MLA, Hindutva, freebies, etc., etc. The BJP has a lot of catching up to do. However, if you see in Haryana and Maharashtra, they largely focused on a seat-by-seat strategy. And when you focus on a seat-by-seat strategy, you have to raise the local issues. And that's what we have seen. After trying to dent the image of credibility of the Aam Aadmi Party, they have moved towards the bread and butter issue because civic issues is a big issue here which could impact the performance of AAP and also propel the performance of the BJP because the BJP does not have a face. So it is largely relying on 70 candidates whom they have put up to fight against the 70 candidates of Aam Aadmi.
Remember, it's also, Sanjay Jha, about the performance of the grand old party. The once formidable Congress down to 4.5% in the last assembly elections, and how badly or how well, relatively speaking, the Congress does is ultimately what will decide which way Delhi goes. If the Congress can get up to 12-14% votes, then it's curtains for the Aam Aadmi Party. And if it stays 4-5-6, then it's to AAP's advantage. What's your reading of how strong the Congress party looks on the ground in the capital at this moment?
You know, Rahul, before I answer the question on the Congress, one very pertinent point. Aam Aadmi Party is brilliant in playing victimhood. And I think the BJP in its usual cocky style has contributed to that narrative with the way they have gone and attacked them pretty brazenly. I saw those pictures of, a lot of the BJP workers taking off their posters, etc. And I think Arvind Kejriwal, let's admit, is a master of actually setting a public narrative. And I think to that extent, Aam Aadmi Party is probably not going to see the kind of declines that people expect it to do, which brings me to the Congress. Rahul, let me tell you, the Congress is trying very hard in this election to try and become a disruptor which makes spectacular gains. My take is that it's not going to happen for a simple reason, that people nowadays, when they vote in an election, they like to see their vote being counted in a material way, in the sense that they like to see their vote making a tangible difference in terms of the candidate winning. Now, I do see that a lot of minority voters and a lot of the Dalit voters will probably be more sympathetic towards the Congress. I've always been critical of Aam Aadmi Party being very ambivalent and very amorphous when it comes to issues of Muslims in particular. They did not speak on Bilkis Banu. They were actually pretty much dodgy when it came to the Shaheen Bagh and even in the 2020 riots. So the bottom line is there will be an erosion, but 53%, the BJP at 38%. I see the Congress not even hitting double digits, frankly speaking, because you can't really suddenly revive an organization or hope to get an electoral windfall by a couple of weeks of campaigning. So even if the Congress were from the base of 4 move to 7-8, will the BJP gain from Aam Aadmi Party's diminution of vote share? That's the real question. And the BJP has traditionally, even in the best of times, hung around the 33-34%. Last time it went to 38. Will it now cross 38? I'm not so sure. I think Arvind Kejriwal is still seen as the man who has done a lot of good work for Delhi. And the absence of a face from BJP is going to hurt them. And Shehzad Poonawalla, Parvesh Verma, Ramesh Biduri's comments, I don't think they have gone down very well with the electorate at large.
Okay.